Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
welcome to this Sunday edition of Down South Sports Fanatics. It's gonna be a short and sweet edition. We're gonna go over some topics with you. Of course, I'm joined by my boy, the voice himself, the voice of reason. What's up, Dave Robin?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Man, that intro don't wake you up on a Sunday morning. I don't know what does, man.
Get you hyped up, bro. Get you hyped up. And of
Oh
course,
yeah.
you can't see him, but he's on here. Our producer, Fatty. What up, Fatty?
Yeah, I'm on here because I forgot to take myself out at the intro, but I'll just
Stay
sit
on
in
in,
here.
man.
I'll let y'all just do talking, but I'll just sit in the room with y'all.
Well, look, let's dive
Hang
into
on
it,
there.
Dave.
Hang on in.
Let's dive into it. What you think about the first game, Detroit's at San Francisco? What's your thoughts, brother?
Man, dude, I tell you, this is we were just talking in the back room, man, the backstage area, man, and I think both of these games could really go either way. It wouldn't surprise me who won these games, but man, I know everybody here. It's kind of like we were all kind of rooting Lions and Bills. It seems down here. The Lions, man, you know all the connections. I want the Lions to pull this off, man, but I don't know, man. I keep going back, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Let's put it that way, Rich. I'm going to say it's real close, man. I don't know why. I think that home field for the 49ers is going to make a difference.
I mean, I agree with you, David. I mean, Detroit's going to have to play an absolute clean game today. Absolutely.
Yeah. I worry about their corners, man. To me, that's the area they got to improve in the offseason, their cornerbacks.
Yeah, and I think the difference, I think you hit the nail on the head, man. I don't know if Detroit's corners can even detain these receivers for San Francisco. Even Christian McCaffrey coming out the backfield. You got Kittle running wild. You got, supposedly Debo's back full. He's going to be his normal self. You got Ayuk.
Yeah.
That's a lot of talent running around,
Dude, I tell you, you're right, man. You know what's going to have to happen for me, and on the other side of the ball, man. And don't get me wrong, dude, you got great matchups all around, Rich. Like you saying about Kittle, man. Like imagine like Kittle going up against Branch and Gardner Johnson, man. I think that could be really interesting. But if they were a little bit better at corner, they could contain like a Brandon Ayuk, man. And it'd make it a little bit easier. But the big matchups to me is going to be McCaffrey out the backfield and Kittle versus Branch and Gardner Johnson, and those guys, man. But on the other side, dude, you got Detroit's got one of the best offensive lines, man. They got two really good tackles with Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker.
Yeah.
And man, you're going against probably the deepest defensive line in football, So I mean, it's dude, it's gonna be a lot of fun matchups, man.
And Dave, you know what nobody brought up all year long? I find the 49ers defense is kind of Jekyll and Hyde. Some days, some weeks it shows up, some weeks it don't. I don't know what's going on with So you never know what defense you're getting from San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, man, it's funny what you say there because I'm going to go out on a limb and say the two best defenses remaining are the AFC teams. You know what I mean? I think Kansas City and Baltimore obviously is better than either defense in the NFC.
I agree. I agree. I actually, I think we all do. I hope Detroit pulls this off. But man, it's hard to beat San Fran and San Francisco.
Man, if that game was in Detroit, man, I would probably bet money on Detroit just because how wild that crowd's been. I know they tapered off a little bit the last game, but they were still rocking. Man, I'd say that it's going to be fun, dude. I mean, it's going to be a great chess match.
Yeah.
But there's good matchups all over.
I honestly think Detroit is America's darling team right now. I think a lot of people want to see this team go. And look, me personally, I'm a big Mahomes fan, but I will tell you this, and I can go on record and tell you right now, if Detroit somehow pulls this off and they do face the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I am rooting for Detroit.
There you go, man. Well, look, hey, look, dude, I don't know, man. What would you say? Like, okay, for me, for Detroit to get there in this game, I think it's going to have to be, put it this way, you can't and look, Jared Goff's had a great year, dude. He's their hero over there in Detroit. I mean, it's awesome how the fans have embraced him. And it's great because this is a guy that a lot of teams wrote off, a lot of fans wrote off, and he's, bounced back and become a pretty damn good quarterback. But to me, for that team today, dude, I'm looking at Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to have Ward, I'm sure a lot. And Amon-Ra's a great receiver, so he could still do his thing. But to me, I think it's the running game, man. If Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery could open up things for Goff, man. If they can't run the ball, I think they're in trouble. But if they have some options open where you get that play action, you can start dropping it down to Laporta, 10 to 15 yards downfield. I mean, to me, it's all about how well their tackles protect in their run game. Everything else will fall into place if they get a run game and their tackles could hold off that pass rush.
To me, you just hit it too. To me, I get the Amon St. Brown thing, But I think the key is Laporta today. I think the key is him.
Yeah.
Who does San Francisco have that can contain that young man? Because he's a very talented tight end.
I mean, Fred Warner's going to be all over the place, and Warner's great at pretty much just about everything he does. I mean, he's probably the consensus best linebacker in football right now, according to a lot of people. But, dude, I mean, he's a guy that can get Laporta in short space, but if Laporta could stretch him a little bit, he's a linebacker, dude. So, I mean, all bets are off at that point.
Yeah, well, look, let's welcome our other co-host. What's up, H-Town?
What's going on? I'm sorry, man. Get ready.
The bear himself, the truth. What's up, Mr. Pancho Gonzalez?
What's going on, man? It's football.
Yeah, but y'all do carpool or what?
Yep.
Shit. Y'all come in the same damn time, man. Shit.
Oh, really?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
We'll get y'all talk. Well, let's look. Me and Dave was talking about the Detroit San Francisco game. Pancho and H, y'all dive into it, man. Give us your thoughts.
I mean, I had put out a storyline out there, man. I know Ultimate, with Moody being the kicker for the 49ers, going up against Detroit.
Yeah.
He's born, bred Detroit, lived through all the ups and downs. No, there was no ups at all. There was all downs his whole life. Went to college at Michigan. Now he's the kicker for the 49ers. It could come down to his foot, putting Detroit back into misery,
Yeah. What you think, H?
Man, my gut says the 49ers, but my heart's like, man, it would be fun to see the Lions go into this thing.
Yeah.
And I've been starting to kind of lean a little bit more towards the Lions. I just feel like momentum's on their side, but I don't know, man. I might change it up. I think maybe Baltimore and the Lions will be in the Super Bowl. I'm going to go like it.
And at this point, following off of that, at this point, what do you do with Shanahan? If he loses this game, at what point is getting over the hump?
That's a great point, Pancho. That's a great point.
I mean, I think you got to roll with him, man. I think he's such a good coach and play caller, man. I mean, look at all the guys that have come from under Shanahan, that's other places now having some success, man. But I don't know. To me, like, I want to see what you guys think. I mean, to me, like, the biggest the key player on offense to me for Detroit today is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs, because it's going to open up everything for everybody else. Like, me and Rich were just talking about that. Yep. It'll open up play action and hit Laporta downfield. Amon-Ra is going to be getting a lot of attention. Let's be real. I mean, he's going to have, he can still have a game, but to me, if Gibbs dictates the pace of this game, keeps that pass rush off of Jared Goff a little bit, opens up play action, I think he's the total focal point for me.
You ask me, Montgomery's just as just as strong as Gibbs is to anybody. Montgomery is the go getter on that offense, man. He's going to be the 2-and-1 short yardage.
Pancho, but I agree with Dave. Gibbs is the difference maker. He's the explosive guy. He's the hard to cover out the backfield. I mean, that dude could take it 80 yards in a heartbeat.
It's like their Ingram and Kamara from like 2017, 2018 Saints. That's the way I look at it. I think Montgomery's the Ingram, obviously.
Well, he's more like a Reggie Bush type guy to me.
Yeah.
Who's that, Gibbs? I think Gibbs is the truth, man. I really think that kid's got something, man. I think he's going to be a superstar if he stays healthy.
I'm curious to see what Purdy does in this game.
That's good. Yeah.
And to follow up with the Shanahan thing, again, that's a ticking time bomb. So you got Brock Purdy, who's still on the rookie contract, which would next year, the following year, you have to pay the piper. So you only got your window is real short right now. It's getting short.
Yeah, it is. You being honest right there. Well, listen, guys, let's dive into the late game. Of course, everybody is on the fence about this one. The Kansas City Chiefs at Baltimore. I mean, everybody knows where I stand on this. I think it's gonna be hard. As big as a Mahomes fan I am, I think this is the impossible going into Baltimore and winning this game.
Man, I tell y'all, dude, Rashee Rice, man, I've been bragging about this kid, Isaiah Pacheco, for a while. I mean, Kelsey's still capable of putting up that game, man. I still think they'd have more firepower than the Ravens on offense. I think Lamar's got a lot of pressure on him because, I mean, back to what Chris said a couple of weeks ago, going into Houston, if it's not Lamar, I just don't buy enough into Gus Edwards or, Isaiah Likely. Zay Flowers, nice prospect, no doubt, but I think Rashee Rice is a little bit ahead of him right now. I just think the problem is keeping up with Mahomes. So their defense is going to have all the pressure on them. Their defense has to go out and play an A-plus game to me to win this game. I think Kansas City will be fine on defense the way they defend Lamar Jackson. But to me, all the pressure's on that Baltimore defense. They have to win this game to me more than Lamar does.
And if I go, I'm gonna go totally opposite because at this point, Mahomes is gonna be consistent. He's not blowing you away. He's not giving the game away. So he's gonna be consistent. Lamar is he's either gonna be great or he's gonna be bad. So that's you don't know what Lamar you're gonna get. The defense is on the Ravens is the most consistent. So if if Lamar don't go, the Ravens aren't going to go. So, and you can get a subpar Mahomes because you've got that so many times that you can work with a subpar Mahomes with the weapons. Lamar Jackson, if you hurt his leg or something is going to happen to where you have to rely on Lamar Jackson, and that's where you get in the pickle.
Hey, well, look, let me tell you, I want H to comment on this and Dave too. One of my friends is Bobby right here, rung a great topic up. He said Lamar hasn't had a bad game all year long. Seriously, do you think today's the day?
Could be. Hey, you go, Chris. I'm about to let the dog out. My dog's got to take a leak. Hold on.
I don't know if today's going to be the day. I think, man, I've been watching a lot of hype videos for the Ravens, and I'm kind of tired of seeing Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes. I'm kind of over all them. I'm a little over Patrick Mahomes as well, man.
Why are you over that, bro? I just got my Swiftie shirt.
I believe it, Richie. I believe it.
Did.
Listen, look, Chris. Ultimately, do you think it ain't the Chiefs putting Taylor on the screen? It's the NBC and the ABCs of the world putting Taylor. I mean, you're getting tired of them and not really getting tired of Patrick because Patrick ain't giving it to you. It's the news outlet.
Well,
no,
listen,
it's not Patrick
as bad as you say people are tired of hearing the Swifties and all that, I think people are tired of hearing Lamar Jackson's ass sound like a bag of fucking dumb rocks.
I don't think so, Richie, I'm telling you, I think there's a lot of people all over the United States rooting for Lamar Jackson today.
No, I do. No, Richie, I agree, and I'm gonna tell you. Here's the thing.
No way, no how.
I'm telling you.
No, but Richie, it happens when you win championships, man. I mean, there's always going to be the haters.
America don't want to run their quarterback to win the Super Bowl.
They want to see the 49ers and the Ravens in the Super Bowl.
You out your mind.
That's what they want. I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, that's been the two best teams all year.
What does the NFL and the ratings want, Pancho?
They want Taylor Swift.
Yeah, they want the big headlines. But again,
if they can get Taylor Swift and Eminem in there, that'd be cool. But
there you go.
That's a great.
I mean, with Baltimore and Detroit, you got two small towns. Baltimore's not that small. I mean, same small towns, but small, irrelevant towns. Going into sports. So you're dealing with Detroit's history. We mirrored that history for quite some time. I mean,
I don't know, P. You talking like they're Oklahoma City or something, man? Like that's a big market, dude. Detroit.
Yeah, but they've never really done anything. The Detroit basketball. I mean,
the Pistons were great.
Fellas, listen, I gotta dive out of here. Thank y'all for thank y'all. Y'all continue on. I gotta go meet with this couple right quick. Look, good luck to both teams. Of course, I'm rooting for Mahomes, but it's gonna be hard for him to pull it out. I would love to see a Detroit, Kansas City Super Bowl, but I think we're going to see a Baltimore, San Francisco. Y'all have a great day, man. Enjoy the games today. I'll see y'all later.
All right, Richard.
All right, brother.
All right, Rich. So we're hanging in here like a bunch of rapists in here or what?
Yeah, no, you can.
What?
Yeah.
I'm saying we're creeping around here like
he's got the Royal Rumble last night.
Yeah, he's having Biden throwbacks right there. You got to excuse him, man.
Hey, man, y'all are different animals. But hey, look, this is my thing about that game, dude. The Kansas City game. What I'm saying is, like, to me, Lamar, I think there's more pressure on Lamar. Mahomes and those guys, they've been there before. They've won those championships. I think Lamar's the one, like you said, let's say they do find a way to take away Lamar as a runner, which I think they can with their defensive talent. I think they can, Spagnuolo can plan. Let's be real. He likes to rush forward. He can keep those linebackers on the edge and kind of contained, as you would say. And I don't think they have the targets to beat up on Kansas City downfield. I just don't. I think Lamar's going to have to run for 100 yards for them to have any kind of chance in this game.
To me, at this point, you're going to see in the first quarter. I mean, if Lamar can't throw the ball, it's going to be a very long day. If you can't spread the ball around, like I said, the Mahomes is going to be there at the end. I mean, Mahomes is your Brady for more or less. Say if you're not ahead by 17 points in the fourth quarter, you're not comfortable. With going against Mahomes, so you better do something.
You said how many points?
If you're not up by 17 in the fourth quarter,
I think 3 touchdowns would feel much more comfortable.
A 2-possession game. Yeah,
scary. I got to go 3 on that one, but I understand what you're saying. I definitely agree. I think you got to have 3 touchdowns on Mahomes to feel comfortable in the fourth quarter.
Lamar to me, Chris. I mean, when you say Lamar to me, look, as great as Lamar's been, he's going to win 2 MVPs. Look, I've had Lamar as a top 5 quarterback before the season started. I mean, we all should. You know what I'm saying? It's not no surprise there. But to me, it's just there is a gap between, Purdy, Goff, Lamar, and Mahomes. I mean, let's be real. And I mean, I think these young guys are really hitting it at the right stride. I mean, I think I've spoken about Pacheco all year long. Pacheco could dictate a game himself almost nowadays. Rashee Rice. I mean, that kid, watch this kid. Just keep an eye on Rashee Rice. I mean, he's developing into a really good receiver in front of our eyes. I mean, I'm saying Rashee Rice is for real. I mean, he's a legit receiver.
No, I like Rashee Rice, but I like I like Flowers just as much, only because he's dealing with a non-traditional quarterback, and he's still putting up numbers.
Right. No, and I agree.
He's putting up equal numbers with a non-traditional quarterback.
Yeah, as a rookie coming out of college, that's a hard thing to adjust to. I mean, there's a lot of things involved with that. But I mean, Kelsey's still like he's the lingering guy there too. I mean, let's be real. Kelsey might have lost a step. He might not fully heal from that early season injury, but we saw what he could do last week. I mean, he could still put up, a nice game. I mean, and Kelsey might be seeing a lot of, Kyle Hamilton, Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith. So they do have some options. I mean, I can't go back on what I was saying about Chris. I kept telling Chris that's why I was concerned with the Texans a couple weeks ago was that middle of the field area. Baltimore covers that so well, and they take things away deep with Marcus Williams, So, I mean, I think Kansas City's going to have to run the ball. Let's be real. They're going to have to run the ball.
They didn't take away anything deep.
Well, no, they did. They absolutely did.
They blitzed like they.
Chris, they blitzed, but I'm saying, but here's my thing: what did Stroud end up
with? There's not anything that they did with coverage as much as they did with constantly putting pressure on Stroud.
I disagree. I think Stroud didn't have anything downfield. I mean, how many passes?
That's the truth. That's not.
I'm not. But look at the game against Cleveland, Chris.
What's that?
But look at the Browns game. I mean, I watched that guy throw 3 or 4 passes over 25 yards. I don't think he had, except for Singletary, I think it was his only completion over 20 yards.
Where was the pressure the Browns put on him? There wasn't.
No, I mean the pressure was there, but look, Chris, hold on. They had 0 sacks with the Baltimore. They had minimal pressures on Stroud, so it had to be something downfield. Trust me. I watched Ponch can tell you this firsthand.
Consistently.
No, but Baltimore has a clean layout of what they do. They're going to get pressure, absolutely, but their linebackers roam. They can cover space. They got Hamilton covering space. Humphrey wasn't even there for that game. Imagine he's there. And then you got Marcus Williams. Marcus Williams is a single high safety. He plays a lot like Earl Thomas. He takes away things downfield, like it or not. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not discrediting it, but you're going to see that come to life today with Mahomes.
I don't think Mahomes is going to be able to go downfield. I think it's the intermediate area still.
You'll see a difference.
Again, Mahomes, you're playing with a handicap of Mahomes. You don't have a wide array of wide receivers, and that's why you see the lack of production from Kelsey, because he's getting a lot of the looks from the linebackers over safeties over top. So he's getting double team. He got Kadarius Toney got axed for today. Yeah. So I mean, you're dealing with MVS who's got stones, and Mahomes, it's rough, dude. I mean, again, that's why Mahomes, you got defenses that are rolled, and Mahomes eventually his production is slack. It's still up there, but you get your old heads that that's going to roll coverage towards Kelsey and they're going to make Mahomes win this game.
So let me ask you this:
Correct.
Humphrey didn't. He's playing, right? Humphrey's suiting up. Nothing new on Humphrey, right?
He's playing.
So and that's what. So you got Humphrey on Rice is a pretty tough matchup for Kansas City, no doubt about it. You got two linebackers that can cover Kelsey. And like I said, I mean, I always throw Williams. I give love to my ex-Saint, but Pancho knows what I'm talking about with Marcus Williams. He was very effective at playing at single high. So what I'm saying about that is you're taking away – I don't think you're going to see 30-yard strikes downfield. You might see one or two of them, but you're not going to see them constantly. Baltimore is great at taking that away. I mean, that's a lot of defensive coordinator, too.
You'll see the difference between Mahomes getting out of the pocket and Stroud not getting out of the pocket. That's going to be your –
Well, historically, the Ravens O-line always gets pressure for some reason. They've always produced pressure, and their thing is always put pressure on the Ravens don't let you sit back and pick apart. They bring different blitzes package. They always move.
And there's no big sack guy there, Pancho. There's no major sack guy. I mean, Matabuke is pretty good up front, but there's no 15. There's no Trey Hendrickson or Bosa or somebody like that or Hutchinson up front. You know what I mean? But like you said, it's a schematic thing.
Yeah, you just roll. They're rolling coverages.
Hang on, let me grab the last
one. Again, it comes down to execution. Lamar Jackson has to execute the game plan, and he has. To me, going into this game, Lamar Jackson has more weapons available to him than what Pat does.
See, to me, I'm the opposite. I like the weapons on Kansas City more.
I mean, you got Mark Andrews that's coming in that hasn't been talked about. You got Flowers. You got three running backs there that are doing something.
I like Pacheco though better than any running back Baltimore has. By I think he's. I
would pick Lamar as a running back over Pacheco any day of the week.
Huh?
I'm picking Lamar as a running back over Pacheco.
Yeah, but you're asking him to do a lot. You're asking him to go against a really
that's
good
what he
pass
does,
defense and a really good.
That's why Lamar's back in the game today is because they took his legs back. They let his legs loose again. The last couple of years they tried to take his legs away from him and tried to make him a pocket passer, and now they kind of released it a little bit and let him do what he does, and this is what you get.
But all bets are off today. I mean, he's gonna look. I mean, like you said, I mean, I agree. I think today is the day. Yeah, there's no count on how many times he's running. If he's got to go run 25 times today, he's doing it. You know what I'm saying, to get in the Super Bowl. But I just think Kansas City's too well coached defensively. I think their guys. I don't think they get enough credit for how good they are defensively these last 2 years, man. And I think they figure out a way to kind of minimize Lamar Jackson. I think somebody's gonna have to step up on that offense. Whether it's Andrews coming out, I don't buy Gus Edwards running for him and Justice Hill. They're not Pacheco. Neither one of those guys are on the same radar.
They can be repercussions from this game. All right, so let's talk about the repercussions of the game. Is on the Ravens side, I don't see any repercussions if they win or lose. As far as coaching staff, player wise, they're going to keep in-house. If Andy Reid and the Chiefs win or lose, is he out?
Oh no, absolutely not.
Do you think is this Andy Reid's final season?
Unless he wants to leave football, he'll never be asked to leave. The success he's had.
No, I'm not saying he's asked to leave. I'm saying has he had enough?
It's possible. I mean,
are you saying personally, or is that what you're asking?
Yeah, is Andy Reid, has he had anything else to prove? I mean, is it time for him just to do the damn thing and just ride off?
I mean, you got Mahomes. It's hard to do that, man. With that team, I would ride that out. He's been in the game for so damn long. He's lost his son. I mean, if he wins the game, there's nothing else for Reid to prove. Pancho, I look at the defensive coordinator for the Ravens. I think he's a guy that could get a job somewhere. McDonald.
I
look at him as a guy out of these teams that's left. He's, to me, the guy that stands out that could take a coaching job. Maybe Aaron Glenn as well. The two defensive coordinators with Lions and the Ravens. That's, to me, the two guys that can move on to be head coaches, in my opinion. I think all the other guys stand pat.
All right, so what if Andy Reid does decide to retire?
What ifs, though, brother?
Yeah.
Is that why Bill Belichick is still standing still?
I think Bill Belichick is standing still because he's old and he's outdated.
Well, hey, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's go back to Atlanta. Do you all? Okay, let's be real. I mean, I know we don't like the Falcons, but I'm not terribly mad at them for passing up. I mean, if I was an outsider playing neutral here, I'm not mad at them on passing up Belichick, because why are you bringing in a 70-something-year-old dude who jams 80s Bon Jovis? You got a bunch of young guys. Your core is under 25. I think Raheem Morris actually fits these guys better.
Yeah, Belichick. Anywhere where Belichick goes, you're giving up the form, the system to him. He at that, like you're saying, at this point, do you want to give your program to a 70-year-old guy who is out of reach? He's very difficult to understand as a fan, much less as a player. I don't know. He's not much of a player coach. I don't get that vibe from him.
Mm-hmm.
He's very distant just from the media. The eyes we see on him.
Well, that's why Dallas made so much sense. That's why Dallas seemed to make so much sense, because they were, what I'm saying, they're closer, or maybe Kansas City. I mean, I agree with what you're saying about Kansas City. That's a possibility. I mean, I don't know if, we don't know if that'll happen, but I see it has to be a team like that that's kind of built already. It's already a playoff championship caliber team. I don't like Belichick going to a team that's not there, that's maybe a year or two away.
Very good.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm not a fan of the older coaches. I'm not a big fan of the Atlanta Falcons head coaching. But I think they got the DeMeco Ryans wish special, or the Timu version of DeMeco Ryans. I don't think Raheem Morris is very good. I do like their offensive coordinator they just got from the Rams.
That hurts. Yeah,
that was pretty good. So that means they're definitely investing in the offense, and that means they're going to draft a quarterback. But I wouldn't be worried about that. I would take Dennis Allen, Raheem Morris. They're like, that's like what?
Yeah, I mean, Raheem Morris was actual interim coach there before, and did his job.
Yeah.
So y'all look at this way. I think Morris is good at what he does. He's not great at what he does, but I think it's more or less. I think he's like Chris was saying. It's kind of like he fits the age frame of players. And I think, like you said, Robinson was a guy I wanted to be the Saints OC. I mean, I was hoping that we'd get him in house, but I mean, now that's scary. Like you said, they're gonna. We've been talking about them trading up for a quarterback for the longest. Every mock draft has them going edge rush, and I think that's insane. But they're building a good thing. Terry Fontenot, I mean, from the Saints organization, he's really, to me, he's making all the right moves, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think somebody out of the organization, somebody got picked out of it with and went to Carolina or something. Somebody front office of Atlanta.
Okay, yeah.
Had left there, so I think he went to Carolina. But the years they putting out to these coaches, but they gave Canales 6 years, they gave Morris 5 years. When the standard was normally 4, and then nowadays you're getting cut in 1 year, if not 2 years.
And do y'all buy Canales? Do y'all buy Canales at all? I mean, I'm kind of unsold on him.
I'm intrigued with that one. That one's a little that one's intriguing a little bit. I like it because of what the path that the Panthers are on, but I'm not really sure I'm buying Canales because it's the Buccaneers. I don't know what it is.
It's a tough job right now for what they gave up and where they're at right now, to get Bryce Young. I mean,
Canales did a great job with Baker, with a weak division, a weaker conference. Right. Like, I don't know, man.
And Pancho, Chris, I see how do you, I'm about to say, because Pancho, I know me and Pancho would always talk about this, Chris. I mean, I'm not, we always thought Tampa's had a good core for many years. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying, is it Canales? I mean, look, Baker had a little success in Cleveland. I mean, he got all Progressive commercials. He had, top pick. Was it so much Canales, or was it so much Baker always had a little something in him? And you have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Palmer, Rashad White in that defensive front. You know what I mean? Was it more so Canales or that?
It was the difference between y'all winning a game or two and then winning or losing a game or two. I don't think there was anything the Bucs did anything different than the Saints. And obviously the Panthers were horrible. But, you guys were right there with them.
Right. But I'm saying Canales, I think, is getting a lot of credit. Do y'all think that credit's deserved? I mean, I'm not trashing the guy, but I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Mayfield had a little success, and you had these good weapons on offense.
No.
I mean, Canales.
Go ahead.
So Canales came in, Baker came in. Mm-hmm. Baker came in as a rogue quarterback, nomad. Now he's going to make $40 to $45 million next year,
which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and they're going to have to make some tough decisions. I mean, Devin White
not next year. He's going to make that for the next 4 years, 45 plus each year.
That's crazy.
I
think the Buccaneers were propelled by the disadvantages of the conference and the division around.
You know, sick. You're gonna lose Mike Evans on top of that. So you lose in production, and then you're gonna overpay at the quarterback.
Yeah, Pancho, I think they're gonna have to. I think they're gonna lose Evans. They're gonna lose Devin White, who's been kind of on the fence of leaving the last couple of years with his personal issues. But I mean, there's gonna be somebody else too. Like you say, you have to sacrifice a few names to pay for that quarterback now.
You remember that year when the Seahawks won their division with a losing record? And they
beat us in the playoffs.
it's just I think that's what the Bucs fit closer to that type of model. We just took advantage of
as Richie don't understand, that's the privileges of coming with an $800,000 quarterback a year, a $5 million quarterback a year that's starting your program, and you don't have any other money invested at that position. And your max payout at that position is $6 to $7 million a year. I mean, you can run rampant on every other position, and that's why I'm saying,
can set them back.
That's why I'm saying you got a 2-year window at best with the 49ers because Brock Purdy's coming with the $60 million contract.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you're paying him $800,000 right now. He can't afford to live in San Francisco on a yearly basis on an $800,000 a year contract.
Why? I mean, with the numbers that kid's put up, he's going to get paid somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And in San Francisco, Shanahan, as long as he's there, that's his quarterback.
He should get a year ahead pay. Like, in other words, he should get his contract this upcoming year and not have to wait to that fourth year.
Let me hey, look, real quick about Mayfield. How do you guys? I mean, me and Pancho played this game. We always joke about it with the Kamara thing years ago, the free agent. Okay, let's play GM for a second. If you're Bucs GM, let's say, I mean, I have no problem going back with Mayfield, but to me, I'm thinking like 2 years. Like if he wants that much money and he's thinking he's gonna get that much money, go low, short-term deal. Go 2 years, 50, 55, maybe 60 million, and go draft that understudy quarterback in the second round, perhaps. In this draft, you know what I mean?
I mean, the problem
I don't like the 4-year, 5-year deal to Mayfield at all. I don't trust that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, if you wouldn't have played it 2 years ago, you could have went Mayfield. We could have been stuck with Deshaun Watson right now, sitting on the bench, getting nothing out of nothing, and paying a lot for nothing. Right. So you can play the
gamble, Pancho. That's what I'm saying. It's a big gamble giving 4 or 5 years to Mayfield. To me, I want that short-term deal and get a young quarterback in house, and then.
Well, listen,
revisit that situation 2 years from now.
I don't know if the Bucs have the option. Do you draft in high and you don't have a quarterback? So you're almost indebted to Baker and his demands. Like you're paying 4 years, $50, $45, $50 million a year.
Chris, go ahead. I got a point, but go ahead, Chris. I see you.
Probably in one of the, and this is going to be really weird for people to understand and hear, but I think the Bucs are probably in one of the worst situations that they could face. I get it; they went to the playoffs, but you realistically can't. I could see them winning maybe 4 games next year. They could really fall down. I don't think they're going to be as good as they are. I think they overachieve, and they're going to be stuck with Baker, paying them a lot of money. They're going to lose Evans. Godwin's getting older. The running back's okay. That guy White, he's okay. But a lot of their defensive guys are getting a little older. But I think the Bucs are in a very, very difficult situation, in my opinion.
That's why I play it short term. Pancho, let me ask you this. Pancho, we know what's going on with baseball. I know we're going to maybe bore some people here for about 2 minutes, but like Bellinger with the Cubs right now, you're trying to not pay this guy the maximum amount of what Scott Boras' agent wants. But listen, this is what I'm trying to get at. So right now, you're almost calling a bluff and saying, hey, there's no other team that's going to give you that money. You know what I'm saying? Do you look at the Mayfield situation to me? Do you if you're the front office of Tampa, do you say, hey, well, no other team's going to give you 4 years, $150 million? I mean, do you think there's a team out there that would actually do that? That's what I'm getting at.
I mean, you need 2 to tango. And if the Bucs think Baker is their fit, they're going to throw the money at him. I mean, Baker almost has won the fans over in Tampa. I mean,
don't you think it's a little bit of a knee jerk? I would let him go out there and say, hey, look, dude, we want you, but go see what you can get. Go
here you are. You're going to go get Jameis Winston.
No, I mean, but there's quarterbacks around. I mean, hey, look, go test the market. If you want $40 million, I'll go get Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson for $20 million, or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you get what I'm saying, Pancho? Like, let him test them. Because to me, I'm looking around. I don't see a perfect fit for Mayfield. The one team I don't even think they would fit because of what they're going to be paying Russ would be Denver, maybe with Sean Payton. But I don't know where Mayfield would go get that $35-40 million a year. I would call his bluff. Let him sit out in the free agent market and hopefully kind of lower that value a little bit.
All right, so listen, you're playing a Giants scenario. It ain't who. It's what you can. It's what's in the house. It's what you can. Like, you had to pay Daniel Jones that money. You had no choice. Is there other options? Yes.
Well, no, I agree, but I agree with that. But I mean, Mayfield, and I'm not. I don't dislike Baker Mayfield. I think he's a middle. I think him and Carr are like in that same boat. They're that middle of the pack quarterback. They need something else to be there in order for them to win the Super Bowl. They got to have a great defense, great run game. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna steer you like Allen or Burrow, Mahomes, or Lamar.
One last thought on Baker, because we're going too far on Baker. So Baker. It's either are you happy with what you got out of Baker this year as a Tampa organization? Absolutely. All right. So are you risking to go back to that same land next year? Or are you risking to go draft a probable first round or have a Jameis Winston? I mean, and take that risk. Is the risk reward? I mean, you're not going to win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield, but he can't get to the playoffs.
Look,
nobody's signing James. Nobody's
signing. Beat me to this.
No, Jameis is not going, and he's not starting anywhere. Let's just get rid of that. And he had ample opportunity to win a job here in New Orleans if he didn't take that.
Yeah, there's a lot of quarterbacks out there, guys. That's what I'm saying too. Like, there's some guys. I mean, Russell Wilson's gonna be sitting there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Kirk Cousins, I think, goes back to Minnesota, but But there's, I mean, look, Pancho, would you say this? Okay, so they're drafting in the 20s, right? I would take. I'm a little unsold on Bo Nix, but man, if I, you know what I'm saying, rather than paying Mayfield that kind of money and possibly really put your team in a hole for the next 3 or 4 years, I agree. They're aging in some places that scares me. You know what I'm saying? I would be careful giving Mayfield a massive contract.
They have to keep asses in the seat somehow, some way, one way or the other. Mike Evans.
And, I mean, but would Russell Wilson? Would you think Russ would do that? I mean, if you sell Russ, hey, dude, it's Central Florida.
Dude, you got people walking around in Tampa today. Listen, you got people walking around in Tampa today with Baker Mayfield jerseys on, wearing them.
No, he's a likable dude, Pancho. I agree.
You can't just knee jerk and throw this whole situation on a hope and a prayer. Right. You have to go with working for you. You have to go with. I don't like it. I don't like it, but if I'm the GM, you have to go with the program.
But I come back to the Bellinger thing with the Cubs. Okay, so if another team's not offering $300 million, you're not going to offer $325 million. You get what I'm saying? So to me, I let Mayfield sit there and test the waters. Tell him you want to bring him back, but look, man, we're in a weird place as an organization. We need to let you test the market.
You're not listening, bro. You got a head coach. You got a head coach there with a system in place. Baker that knows the system. You got too many moving parts to play around.
But Pancho, this isn't a team. This is a core that could get broken up, though. I mean, Evans could be gone. Devin White could be gone. Lavonte David might have a year or two left. I mean, they're aging in a lot of areas, man.
But you still need to put the pieces back together and have asses in the seats. You can't have.
I don't worry so much about the asses in the seats thing, but I worry about, like you're saying, like Brock Purdy. We're talking about a low-end rookie quarterback not filling up the cap sheet with $40 million on a quarterback that might be the 25th best quarterback in the league. You know what I'm saying? That's what scares me. Like right now with the Giants, they're in a clusterfuck because Daniel Jones' contract. And I agree with what you said. I said it too. I understood why they gave him the money. I didn't agree with it. But to me, Tampa's got an option right now. I think you got a great quarterback draft. You got other cheaper options like Russell Wilson. They'll probably be out there. I mean, to me, Wilson's as big of a name as Mayfield. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they're going to go that route, but I'm not paying Baker $40 million a year.
So you putting your money on Baker not being a Tampa next year?
No, I'm letting him test the waters, and I'm telling you,
they're going to pay him $45 million
offer somewhere.
They're going to pay him talk. Listen, they're going to pay him $45 million. So if you was to lay a bet today, so you would lay it that he wouldn't be there.
I'm going to say this. If I took the GM job tomorrow, it's 2 years, $60 million is what I'm offering. If you go find something better, go ahead, buddy. Like, that's the way I look at it. You know what I'm saying?
All right,
I wouldn't offer this guy. I wouldn't jump and say, hey, we want you so bad. You're Baker Mayfield, 4 years, $160 million. I think you ruin your organization for the next 3 or 4 years doing that.
Correct. Don't pay him like a superstar quarterback that he's not, because he's not.
Well, yeah.
I think
Force another team to pony up that money and see what happens. If somebody does, you know what I'm saying?
If somebody else does, let that problem go over there. You go draft a quarterback and get your organization on the right path again.
Listen,
hang on, guys. Let me go on location. Hold on.
So yeah, we got Fatty. We got Fatty on sitting hostage right now in another room, waiting for us to figure this out. So let's hit on the Raw Rumble real quick. Fatty's.
I was about to say that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
So let Fatty join in if he's still on. Join in and talk some wrestling. But anyway, so.
Wait, who? Who? Cody Rhodes, right? I was about to say it's like I woke up this morning and forgot who won. Yeah. So did y'all think there was any way CM Punk was going to win? I had a feeling it would be Rhodes, man. I think they could use Punk in other ways for WrestleMania. I think they was going to give Rhodes that push again. You know.
You got to remember, there's 2 championships now.
That's true too. Yeah.
There's not just one.
Right.
So ultimately, for Fatty, what was your take on the? I don't know. Do you want to speak on the women's or just?
Yes. It was long and boring and shit wrestling. I'm done.
Hey, it was, Fatty. It was, man.
Jay Cargill, Jordan Grace were probably the only shining lights.
Yeah.
Hey, Fatty, real quick, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I was big. My son was huge in the Daniel Bryan era, dude. I've always loved wrestling. You know, we've had those conversations. But to me, I kind of feel like, I don't know why, but in a way, it feels like compared to what it was a few years ago, they took a step back where they had Sasha and Becky and Charlotte going, and that was fresh with Bayley. It feels like the women's division to me was a little stronger. Now it seems like it's real diluted. There's a bunch of names, but there's not that top tier.
Well, it's a bunch of women that don't know what the hell they're doing. They're just in there, just doing. I mean, if you looked at it, that wrestling was so weak.
It was
you could tell they talked their way through the whole match. You know.
Oh yeah.
The flying head
van looked like the white awesome Kong.
Even the guys, man. I mean, where is like the attitude era stuff? Where's that at, dude? Because it's just this shit here, dude. What I've seen, the storylines is like so like some of this shit has been replayed, and I can tell you the whole.
The problem was when WWE went public. That's when everything changed.
TKO Sports, yeah.
Well, no, we're talking about like 2000 when they went public trading.
No, you're right.
That's when it all changed. Even though you had the era in the 2000, that was the last strongest era they ever had because they were still doing what they wanted to do.
Yeah. You couldn't have chair shots and chicks taking off their tops every episode anymore. And
with wrestlers today is that they're more worried about TV time than they are crafting their skill.
Yeah,
you know, and they're trying to sell. They're trying to sell themselves. Everybody wants to be the face or or heel. Everybody wants to be the top star. You just can't do that.
That's a good point, man.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a point.
Back when we watched it, there was like every wrestler had their own storyline, and everyone was a star in their own right.
Well, a lot of them guys were already polished from working territories for years. The
angles. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I'm going to touch on something with wrestling, and I've always felt this for a while now. Is I think that it's overpopulated, and what I mean by that is outside of WWE can sign 500 wrestlers, right? But only 50 of them are getting TV time and can really create a good story. So what do you do with the others, right? Well, what do? They didn't have anywhere to go, and now you have AEW, you have TNA. I think there needs to be more companies. The problem is WWE is like the McDonald's of wrestling. You know what I mean? The coat of all soft drinks. It's just that name, the production.
Well,
there's no edge anymore. There's no edge. There's no need to be like they were before, you know?
Not edge, but it's like AEW, there was hope. But man, when you lose guys like CM Punk and Cody Rhodes back to WWE, it hurts more than it helps.
Well, AEW is just a bunch of fans trying to run a company, and
my take is I grew up with wrestling from from as a kid, just like the rest of us. But the McMahons played so much into the wrestling; they were part of the wrestling.
They did, but they also kind of the reason it's gone downhill. Because
I know, but listen, Shane has taken the biggest bumps I've ever seen of all from he's not even a wrestler.
Oh, Shane's a wild dude.
The whole family, they're workers. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
And then like Vince played into it. Even as big as a dick he is, like he would literally say, like if like I seen a skit the other day where like he told the wrestler to kick me in the face and make sure you kick me so you know I feel it.
Oh, that's never been a problem. Vince will get involved.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so you had angles of people hating the boss, you know, and fighting the boss, and you know, kind of just rebelling. And now it's just, you know, you're trying to find a place, you're trying to find a storyline for everybody, and nothing new.
Correct. You're right. Look at the WWE now. We have 2 world titles. Wow. You're watering down the product.
Yeah, and look at AEW. There's a title for every day of the week.
That's
mean,
right.
And to me, like even like the tag team, like the Hardy Boys, they listen. They didn't need to talk. They didn't need to talk. They entertained you with a match for 30 minutes and a table of ladder chairs match, and like they didn't conversate. They couldn't talk really all that well. You know, so
but Pancho, there's no characters. You either had to have character or you had to have talent. And now it feels like Chris said, everybody's doing the same thing. Like, dude, Val Venus wasn't the most dominant wrestler, but that dude had a character. Like Val Venus, the Godfather. Like guys like that were fun to watch because they played the shit out of their character.
You got Mike the Miz, who came off the Challenge MTV, you know, off a award show, and then you got Logan
Miz is
Paul.
a good talker, though. So
you got Logan Paul.
I know,
but Miz is actually not a problem for me. Yeah,
but then you got Logan Paul. These guys, they haven't put the blood, sweat, and tears into the matches as a lot of these guys have been fighting at the Gulf states, and they're publicizing, they fantasizing Logan Paul and Mike.
Well, that's the company. I mean, that's the company. I mean.
Yeah,
that's why. Listen, Chris. That's why the wrestling has been taken out of it, and it's more.
I actually don't hate Miz, y'all. I actually don't hate Miz. I think Miz isn't that bad.
Hold on. Here's my thing on how to properly. I'm going to take an example here, but how to create a good wrestler that you can buy into. The problem is we have too many John Does and Mary Janes just walking into the ring with some wrestling attire, and you're like, who the hell are these people?
Yeah, like the chick Royal Rumble, Chris. I couldn't identify any of those chicks. Like they all look the same. They all have the same persona.
I hate it. I hate it when they did this. They remember the Shield, obviously, with Roman Reigns, right? Yeah. Well, after the Shield broke up, we still came out with the Shield entrance and stuff, and I'm like, where's your substance, right? I thought what they did was they touched into his Hawaiian background and created the Samoan, which he really is, with a mob boss like Paul Heyman. You got to have some substance behind a character and a little touch of reality. If you don't have that, people aren't buying that. Like I'm telling you, like LA.
Yeah, dude.
What's his besides? Yeah.
The Godfather was a pimp and he had hoes, man.
Well, that was a little on the edge for the '90s, but in today's world, we're living more of a reality.
But he didn't just call himself the Godfather and walk out to the ring with regular black tights on it. You know, he had the pimp hat. He had the hose.
I know, but then listen, you had Rick Rude pulling chicks out of the crowd and kissing them.
Yeah, that was the ring. Yeah, that was his persona. He sold that shit. He was a good wrestler. Absolutely.
Back in the '80s, that was taboo. Like, oh my, you couldn't do that in the '80s. You know, and that was different. That was something different to the crowd. That got people hyped. Well, we've been through all that. We've been through the Attitude Era. What possibly could you give more of in today's wrestling besides in my opinion?
So I think you need to blend that Attitude Era into the talent. I think there's a lot of talent there, but I think
honestly, what really hurts wrestling today, a lot of people don't take into account, is social media. It ruined the whole kayfabe. It ruined kayfabe. No one wants to do kayfabe anymore.
How do you there we go. I've got an answer to this. How do you turn that? And I'll tell you how.
Well, it's up to the person, the wrestler itself, if they're going to do it themselves.
Listen. So
this is wrestling. Hold on, Pancho. I got to get this out real quick. You make wrestling, and if you ever watch New Japan Wrestling, and I'm telling you, we're going to go a little nerdy. If you get into New Japan Wrestling, the way they're set up, it's like a tournament, a bracket of points to win the grand prize, the Grand Prix championship. You kind of base wrestling off of a reality. We know it's fake, right? We get it, it's staged. But create somewhat of a sports realism, a competition to it, not just buying into he turned his back on me, this guy turned his back. No,
right.
Make it reality based, like make it a UFC type thing, not the fighting.
Air
the way you
freshener
rank,
here.
the rankings of it, that kind of stuff. I think
Well-
if you based it off of that, it would work.
I mean, if you look back in the day when you had the old school wrestlers, the Hitmans, and they generally had beef with Brian Pillmans of the world, and so you could see, and a lot of it was Roy, feuded, fights, just roided guys just in a room together and thought one was stronger than the other, and they really, and they really did like your Al Snows and your
But then again, it goes
and
back
then then you Mick Foley's of the world, guys who just came out of nowhere
but once again, and that's the thing. Once again, like you just said it, you're like they came out of nowhere, but technically these guys were already in the business 10 years. Stone Cold was like in the business 10
and that's
years
what I'm saying. You taking
before
the
he
Miz.
ever became Stone Cold. He was fucking Stunning Steve Austin.
So
Right.
you got
But,
guys.
Chris, hey, hold on, Fatty. But see, that's my issue. Stunning Steve Austin. Okay, let's be real. That didn't have the marketability. He was a good wrestler, but the problem was the right guys at the top have to make these calls. Because I mean, right now you don't have the foresight from the guys up top anymore. I think the lack of creativity. I think Triple H is running some things right, but I think there's a lot of wrong. You know what I'm saying? To me, it all starts up top. How do you use these guys? You know what I'm saying? Like you said, he found these guys like Stone Cold and turned. I mean, look, WCW had all the high-paid guys, and they weren't doing. They ended up getting their ass kicked with the ratings. You know what I mean? WWE made some guys into something. You know what I mean?
What was Stone Cold? My question is, what was Stone Cold?
He was created. Yeah, he was created.
What Stone Cold was on TV is what Stone Cold is in reality. He is
No
someone
doubt.
That's a country guy that goes out and drinks beer and hunts. He just played that into a character and just amplified it. And that's the substance we don't have. Like
And
Braun
Vince
Breaker.
McMahon gave him the little push, the little kick in the butt. Like,
Braun-
Well,
look,
right.
Fat
Yeah,
Braun
the
Breaker.
McMahon
feel
feud was
like
huge.
I heard Brian Pillman Jr. wanted to use his name in wrestling, and they told him no.
he does. He
Brian
used
Pillman.
Well, no, like
Brian
wherever he's
Pillman's
at, the
another one.
organization, WWE, wherever he was going, they told him they didn't want him to use the Pillman name.
Well,
And he's like, I
don't know
WWE
why.
does that a lot.
I don't
I
know
mean,
why.
with legacy.
think the
wrestling.
That would bring the old schoolers back in, into the situation. Brian Pillman Jr. Let's see who, I would hear that name across the board. And
WWE's been doing that for 30 years. I mean, when they, remember when they first brought in Kerry Von Erich, Kerry fucking Von Erich, they didn't use Von Erich. He was the Texas Tornado. But eventually, it was just starting to slip. Yeah,
that
and
was
it was
cartoon era.
But it just
only-
everybody was referring to him as Kerry Von Erich, so they just said fuck it.
The only wrestler that has turned, who was the son of somebody that turned into his own identity but played into his past, is Cody Rhodes.
Well, I got one more too, Chris. I got one more. Hey, Chris, I got one more though. Randy Orton as well.
Hey, don't forget about Dustin Rhodes, y'all. I mean, Dustin.
Yeah, no, I mean, I mean, look, let's be real. Wrestling, if you're second generation, you have any ability and any charisma, you got a great shot. I mean, we've seen these second generation guys. I mean, I agree with you saying, Chris. But I think like guys like Orton and Rhodes. I mean, those names carry weight. You know what I mean? Obviously, Randy's dad wasn't as big of a deal as American Dream, but Bob Orton Jr. was a good wrestler as well.
I mean, The Rock. You got The Rock.
But he's
The Rock. There you go, Rocky Johnson. Yeah, good call. And that whole family line, the Islanders and Roman Reigns.
Then you got the whole. Yeah, then you got the the Fatus, with Rikishi, the Samoans.
Correct.
I mean, everything's there,
Haku, don't forget about Haku, the dangerous man in wrestling at one time.
But the difference with those guys is they created their own identity based off of their path, and they kind of just passed, and they kind of changed it and updated. You know what I'm saying?
It feels like there's a lacking of identity with these guys. Like, to me, like you said, they all look generic. They all look the same. There's very few of them that stand out to me. You know what I'm saying? It's not so much an ability thing. It's a charisma thing,
And what you identify is like, so when wrestling came, when I used to watch wrestling, there was never no 20, 21, 22, 23. You never seen them in a wrestling ring. You always seen like 30, 35, 40-year-olds. That's who I always wrestled because they were seasoned and they knew how to make a match without even meeting each other. They knew how to get in the ring and make it happen and make it look real without even having met each other.
Remember, it took
When we were 10 years old, those guys were 20-something years old. We're 40 now. Those guys are a lot.
But here's the crazy thing with the greatest era in wrestling, the Monday Night Wars, was all because of the older guys. It wasn't because of the newer generation. Now, did they help those newer guys become superstars with that era? Yes. But it was the older guys. Let's be fucking real. It was Hulk Hogan that kicked it off, becoming a bad guy. Then the whole wrestling format just fucking changed after that.
But being a bad guy was cool because you were the NWO. Being a bad guy like Stone Cold, drinking beer and doing the middle finger, it wasn't to eat your vitamins and all that stuff. And it was being on edge. It was being the edgy guy.
Well, Stone Cold, once him and McMahon went into the feud, that's when he blew up because it was new.
You had DX. You had The Undertaker.
Who is? I got one question because I mean, so we've been on for an hour. So who is, from growing up as a kid, who was the one tag team or who was the one group that turned on each other as a heel? That that one of the first heels that you can remember.
Oh, wait, the Rockers, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I mean the Rockers, the Shawn Michaels barbershop skit.
I thought that was real when I was a kid. I was like distraught over that. I remember.
I mean,
that.
they didn't. Yeah, you didn't see a lot of tag teams breaking up like in the early. Not many.
No.
I remember when the Rotundas broke up, when Rick and Mike Rotunda, and didn't Rick go heel big time on that?
Yeah, Mike became Captain Mike Rotunda before he became IRS.
And Rick kind of went as the bad guy.
That's old school there. I do remember the IRS Rotunda.
They were brothers, and Rick was the short, stouty one, and he was like the bulldog of the group. And I think he turned on Mike.
The Steiner.
So that was
the Steiners never really broke up until fought each other. I think until late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about, Pancho?
Well, no, the Rotundas, they are Rotunda. I don't remember.
They're the same guys.
You said Bulldog, the guy the Bulldog. I'm thinking.
Oh no, that was Davey Boy and Dynamite Kid, the British Bulldogs.
I remember him. And I remember Dynamite Kid.
The Rotundas, man. They used to wear the wrestling fucking earmuffs and
that was the Steiner brother.
That was the Rick Steiner.
Yeah,
but there was the Rotundas before though.
I don't remember that.
No, they were always the Steiner brothers. His son was in the Royal Rumble last night. That was Braun Breaker.
I don't know what Dave's at. He's fucking driving Miss Daisy.
I'm fixing to head out though, guys.
Yeah, me too. All
right, guys, check out back.
All right, y'all. See everybody Tuesday.
All right,
yes,
man.
Sir.